So we have internet lead scripts if we want to pass out, and with this is, if I read it. So a lead comes on, and when you're contacting them, keep in mind it's an inconvenience that you're calling them most of the time. So one thing that we're really leading in with is, hi Bob, this is Adam calling you from BrileyHomes.com or ViewOnMyHomes.com. Am I catching you at a bad time? I love leading with that. I think that's probably one of the best ways to do that. Like when we all get calls from real estate or websites trying to sell you some sort of a website, right? They never lead in with that. And if they were to ask me, hey, am I catching you at a bad time? Because they're always catching me at a bad time. But if they would at least ask that, I would be more open to talk to them and appreciate the fact that they asked me if I'm catching them at a bad time or if it's. So we've been leading with that, and it's just it just shows like, hey, we care about your time and we value your time. So if they say yes, we are catching you at a bad time, just ask them, hey, when is a good time I can catch you, and we can spend some time talking. If no, I noticed you were on the site recently, and I was calling to make sure that you were finding it useful and easy to navigate, and how's the site working for you so far? And then go into, do you have any questions? I don't suppose you already have a real estate agent helping you to find a home. If they ask yes, just then you go into, have they signed a buyer's agreement? And if they have signed a buyer's agents, exclusive agency, then just wish them well. And if they ever have any questions, you can send them your email, and if they contact you, great. If no, great, then you can tell me a little about what you're looking for in an agent. So kind of the whole idea here is we're trying to build rapport, get them talking. You want the prospect to be talking about 70% of the time, and you as a salesperson should be talking about 30% of the time. Just get them to talk, ask lots of questions. Again, so what we said here is that listen to respond and ask probing questions. And then we go into, before I let you go, let me ask, are you going to need to sell your home in order to buy your next home? That's how we get a lot of our listings, is through internet leads that are looking to buy. If they say no, great. I don't want to take up too much of your time today. I'm sure you're very busy. When would be a good time for us to spend about 15 minutes on the phone so I can ask you a few questions about what you're looking for in your new home? You can certainly ask me questions, and at that time we can decide if we may be a good fit for one another. So again, when we're calling leads, we understand we might not be a fit for them, and we make that very clear. We don't want to have a hidden agenda. It's it's not like we try to be the used car salesman type salesperson, but I think sometimes it comes across that way. So we have absolutely no hidden agenda, and just let them know what we're really trying to do there, and understand that, hey, you're not going to hurt our feelings if we're not going to be a fit for you. So then you go in there and set the appointment. So a big thing that we're working with on our team is we're really big on getting buyer contracts signed. I'm sure we've all dealt with working with a buyer, and the next thing we know, they went and bought a for sale by owner or bought through an agent straight from the listing agent. So we're really big on setting the appointment, getting them to meet with us, and we have a buyer intake form where we're basically going through and asking them, basically what we're trying to find is what's your pain, what's your motivation to buy. And we're really trying to hit on those pain points, those motivation points, whether they're a growing family and they need to do it that way, it's a divorce situation, they need to downsize, we've heard it all. So really the whole idea there is we want to hit on their, we want to get them to their childlike state, because when people buy and people choose on who they're going to buy with, they're going to first choose people they like, and Vince has talked about that, and then also when you buy anything, it's an emotional thing. It's not. So we're trying to get them to that emotional, childlike state. So again, go into setting the appointment. Then that's when we meet with them, is when we're going through our buyer questionnaire form, and that's when we're having them to sign our. If they feel like we're a good fit for, if we feel we're a good fit for each other, then that's when we have them sign our exclusive buyer contract. I would say about 60–70% of our buyers right now are under contract, so we're looking to always increase that number just because we don't want to lose out on looking for business.
Yeah. Are you using the form that's out there in the trade set?
Yep.
I think it came from the board.
Yep.
So you do have a major on it.
No, yeah, we just use that one. I mean, It's like, why change some if it's not broke, and that's the way we do it. It's just, you know, the big thing is when, especially first-time home buyers, you just want to explain to them. So when we're talking about that, because the way we do it is just, hey, this is how I do it, and the reason I'm doing this is because it's going to not only protect your interests, because I'm really working for you, and this is going to protect me, so knowing that I'm putting in a lot of hard work to find you a home, negotiate the best deal for you, showing you homes, I just want to make sure that my interests are protected as well. And we haven't got a lot of objections on that. You know, every once in a while you'll get some guy that just absolutely doesn't want to sign it, and that's why we're not getting 100% of them, but it's been a great way, and it's a confidence booster for us too, because then you know, like, what we do is every time one of our agents gets a buyer contract signed, we give them a $20 bill at our team meeting. So I feel like we're always handing out $20 bills, but it's a great way to secure that buyer. And you know, we do, I think they're 1-year contracts, right? So even if they're 6 months down the road, we know that they're with us, they're in our pipeline, and I mean, you can almost, you know, we have a solid pipeline that way.
What do you do if you have somebody you know is not going to buy for a couple of years?
And sign a 3-year contract.
3 years?
Just extend it. You know, I would. Especially if they're going to be looking.
Do you vet them alter it in any way? I mean, if they say I don't want to sign it for a year, I'll sign it for 3 months, you say yes?
Well, I don't know.
We haven't really had
We
that.
haven't had that kick. We haven't had that objection. With that, we also tell our clients, hey, at any time you feel that we didn't do the best job for you, we're going to let them fire us. So it's just like, you know, and that's going to go the same with, you know, no one's ever fired us, but we want to give them an out. I think you want to give everyone an out, no matter what you're doing. The chance of them ever coming and firing you are so slim, and just do a good job, and they're not going to fire you.
Have anybody that, while they were in your contract, just went and bought from somebody else?
No, I haven't. No, not. I mean, and then you're secured. That, especially if you use the ones that the OABR provides, then you're secured. I mean, there shouldn't even be a. Should be no. I mean, it's just very black and white.
You have a buyer for 6 months. How, I mean, are you putting them in a drip campaign? You're calling them weekly?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're starting a lot of new stuff, and I was going to kind of touch on a lot of it, but I don't want it to be too confusing, so I'll kind of, you know, mention some of this stuff to you. So one things that we're really trying to work on is what you just said, or is you get a lot of people that show interest, but you know, you want to work on now business. I mean, we got to pay the bills, right? So how are you keeping those buyers warm without, you know, constantly calling them? You need to be calling them, but it doesn't need to be a 10, 15-minute conversation every time you call them, because again, we got to focus on those now people. So one thing, most websites, by the way, have some sort of a drip campaign that you can work in there. You can copy someone else's drip campaign and set it up through your CRM or whatever you're using for a CRM. So, for example, one company that we're switching to is Infusionsoft. It is a little bit more expensive, as we're going to use it as our CRM, but it does everything. And we're doing it just for that reason, whether it's a seller lead that's 2 years out and keeping them up on, and basically all we're doing here, guys, is we're providing them valuable information. I kind of bounce around, because if you have a hot lead and you're talking to them, our sales trainer will say, you know, don't just go out and give out a bunch of free information. You know, does someone want a CMA just because? You know, just don't go out and give out a bunch of free information. Ask them, why do you want this information? You know, what is this? What are you going to do with this information? You know, because you know your time is valuable. So when we're talking our drip campaigns, what we're doing there is we're just offering things of value, whether it's, you know, 7 most commonly, you know, deadly mistakes that buyers can make, or whatever the report is, or it's videos that offering something of value of the real estate market, you know, things that buyers can actually read. Say, oh, you know, that was really helpful information, and you can get that information anywhere. Whether it's there's a blog called Keeping Current Matters. It's a great blog to know about. You can give that to people. It's $19.99 a month to subscribe to it. Steve Harney's the guy that runs that, and great guy, very knowledgeable of the market. You know, you can give that information out to them. Whether it could even be like a newsletter platform as well. That's another thing we're going to be rolling out too. And then that way, the whole idea why you're providing valuable information, you're not trying to hard sell them. You're not trying to, oh, come, you know, Adam Briley is so great, come use me. It's not really about that. Just about, you want to be known as the expert. That's the whole idea. You want to be known as the expert, so then when they are ready to buy, they don't know of anyone else other than you as the expert. So that's kind of the approach that we're going to be going with as well.
So what you have them sign the buyer's agreement, you have a approval letter within so many days for financing? Do you have them?
Yeah, so I mean, that's part of our questionnaire. So again, if they're ways out, approval letters are what, we're 90 days, so really they're 6 months out from buying, really no point for that. Then you just know that they're exclusive to you. Worst case scenario is they just can't get approved, and then, but at least you have that contract. But if they're soon, yeah, I mean, that's part of our questionnaire, and I think most of the times we're having them get pre-approved before they actually meet with us, and that's typically how we're doing it. That way they know, and then they have a general idea of what their monthly payments are going to be. It doesn't have to be that way. If you meet with them, kind of, especially a first-time home buyer, they don't know what's really going on. It's really our job to educate them on, be very detailed. We try not to use what we call buzzwords like short sale. A lot of buyers, especially, they have no idea what short sale is. You got to really just use very basic terms so that they know that you got to get down on their level. And you don't want to think like you're almost not necessarily better than them, but you're so smart that it just goes way over their head and you confuse them, and that's when they can get cold feet, maybe even walk away from you. So yeah, whether you're walking through that steps, and then it's like, okay, well the next steps now are, once you get them under contract, is getting them to a lender, getting them pre-approved, and then if their time frame is now, then you're going to go out and start showing them. We try to get them pre-approved first, because if they're totally just way out of line, then why even meet with them? You're going to waste your time. But if it doesn't happen that way, just kind of take a chance. So with ours, we have an email that we send out. You guys, we are always testing our emails that we're using, and we sometimes use off-the-wall emails that you think, oh my gosh, that's really daring to use. And Tim, for example, he uses what he calls his Hail Mary passes, and but our first email is just kind of an introduction email, and seeing how they're liking the site and all that, and basically letting them know, hey, we would like to talk to you, just basically see if we're going to be a fit for each other, and seeing if you would even want to work with us. And we never want to assume that we are going to be their agent, and we make that very clear to them.